So right now, we are approaching 1 minute. The Lakers now trailing Washington is 122 to 116. LeBron has 38, so he's one away from his fourth game scoring 40 or more this season. But Kristaps Porzingis has 24. He comes over from the Dallas Mavericks. A lot of things have been said about him. He's been in and out of the lineup. However, Coach, when he is healthy and he is playing at the top of his game, he's capable of putting on shows like this.
Well, we've seen it, but we need more. I mean, how many times, if you've been the #1 pick, you're going to get traded around before you reach your potential? Everyone's waiting. Look, this is a good sign. They're playing the Lakers, but the Lakers are a bad basketball team. I mean, look, the Lakers have given up 122 points to the Washington Wizards. Okay, if the Lakers play a little defense like they played 2 years ago in the bubble, they will be winning this game going away with their defense. The fact that they can't guard anyone, they can't score enough, they can't outshoot anyone, they're just a bad basketball team right now. And you look at Porzingis, he's feasting on this small lineup that the Lakers have, this unathletic lineup. And at some point, Porzingis got to plant his flag somewhere and decide if he's going to be that player that we all thought he could be, or is he just going to be one of those guys that never reach his potential.
Indeed, and we're checking out the game right now. We're going to send you back here shortly, but we're just looking at this. The Lakers by as many as 16 points in this game. However, the Wizards now have a nice cushion as they lead 127 to 119. LeBron with 38, second on the all-time scoring list. However, it's not enough as Kristaps Porzingis is having himself a night, his best night as a Wizard. Channing right now, he has 27, and it looks like the Wizards are on their way to another victory.
Do you see Austin Reeves?
Yeah, I think when he... Oh, go ahead.
Chandler, go ahead on.
Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm looking at.
Oh,
no.
Look
Sorry. At Austin Reeves underneath Kristaps Porzingis.
Coach, they can't see what you're looking at. Coach is looking at a monitor that's not being shown. Channing, to your point, continue, please.
To my point is, he's 7'2", and when the guy gets the ball above his shoulders, it's impossible to guard that. But you look at like those last two possessions for the Lakers. Satoransky was playing great defense on Malik Monk, and he just happened to make a Hail Mary 3. And then on the defensive end, everyone knows they're going to run a 1-5 pick and pop. All you got to do is communicate that. And the Lakers were slow in their communication. There's no sense of urgency. They put their head down. Like, you know, basketball is a very subconscious game. And sometimes when you really don't believe that you can win it or you deserve to win, it comes out and it shows. And tonight it showed for the Lakers. They didn't play 48 minutes.
James with his 31st game scoring 30 or more. He finishes with 38. However, it's not enough as the Wizards get a victory on their home floor. They are now 500 on their home floor. Porzingis leading the way with 27 points. And Coach, we talked about that last possession for the Mavericks. For the Lakers, seeing what they drew up, and what were your thoughts on the play that was executed?
Well, there's no such thing as 10-point play during a timeout, and when you draw those plays up, even though you know the game is really over, you're trying to just prepare your team for the next game or the next situation that they're in. And for the players, it's important to run that play because it may be something you can come back to in another game or something. But that was just, look, don't even call the time. If the players are not going to come out and run the play properly, to learn, to get better from it, then Chandler, you know what I mean? You might as well, because all you're doing is you're just making the game longer, man. I mean, they had already checked out. You're just making the game longer.
Yeah, I saw the play, and I was like, there's no way you drew that up.
There's no way. That's what I said. No, I said, there's no way, Chandler, he called a timeout and drew that play up.
Yes,
he was like, hey, Russell Westbrook and LeBron, no, Malik Monk, go dribble 17 times and shoot a fadeaway step-back three-pointer. There's no way.
Right now, the Lakers haven't won back-to-back games since January 7th, right around the New Year's. They take this L tonight, and they're holding on right now. They're still in play, in position.
Half game.
I mean, hey.
When you talking about barely hanging on, ooh, they are hanging on, man.
I mean, Coach, at this point, I mean, obviously we know that they haven't met expectations. This was a team that had championship aspirations. What does it mean if they actually slip out of the play-in situation?
Think of it like this. LeBron talked about early when they first came up with this playoff scenario, he didn't like the play-in tournament. So now think about this. If you slip past 10 and miss the playoffs and the play-in tournament, this is bad. I mean, this could be as bad as things are. Look, at least if you make the play-in, people are going to say, okay, they did make the play-in, they got a chance. If you can't be 1 or 10 in the Western Conference, and you're the Lakers with LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Russell Westbrook, We're going to be writing and talking about this for a long time. We're going to be talking about this even when you and I going from up here, okay?
Channing, your thoughts on the Lakers right now as they're currently sitting a half game up in the 10th spot?
Well, I think we're looking at the 10th spot, but the 11th spot is Portland, who doesn't play Nurk, whose Damian Lillard's been hurt, and then is literally trying to be in the lottery, and they're winning games just because guys have good culture. So the Lakers, who's trying to get to the lottery, the Lakers or the Blazers?
Well, with that being said, the Lakers take the L. LeBron with 38 points. However, the Washington Wizards get the victory. That's a wrap for me, Ro Parrish. That's Coach, and that is Channing Frye. We'll see you next time on Game Time. There it is. The Pacers got the victory, as we saw. Sam Mitchell was there. Just to give you some TV terms real quick, his return game scored a 10.9 rating, meaning that 10.5 million people were, in 10.5 million households watched it, and a record 35 million viewers watched MJ come back. Now, Channing, hold your thoughts for a second because I want to get your perspective. But, Sam, you were in the building. You were on the floor. Michael outscored you that game. You played some minutes. I mean, that's expected. But what are your memories from that game when MJ came back?
Electric. I remember before the game and shoot around, our PR guy was telling us that they had more media requests for that game than the NBA Finals. Standing room only. They told parents, if you were bringing small children, if you didn't have earmuffs at home, they were passing out earplugs.
Wow.
It was that loud in the building. Some of the players wore earplugs.
Really?
It was that loud.
Were you one of those players?
No. I wanted to soak it all in, man, because it was weird to watch him run through that tunnel with number 45 on. And then, and you and I was talking off air while the segment was playing. You saw the matchups? Reggie Miller was guarding Michael Jordan. They matched up against each other. And back in the day, we didn't try to hide guys. And it was electric, man. And to his point, 7 for 28, he gave himself a chance. That's the thing that we all respected about MJ. Good, bad, or indifferent. He gave himself a chance to be great. 7 for 28, we won the game in overtime, but we knew, because again, he didn't shoot well or play well, but the fact, it takes talent and skill to go get 28 good shots. And the fact that he did that in his first game back after missing all that time, we knew then in about 3 weeks, he was going to be back to his old self. And guess what? He was.
Yeah, indeed he was. Sam, by the way, you did miss a shot in that game, so that's awesome that you came in and performed admirably. Channing, got to come to you. Obviously, you were not in the NBA at that time, but you obviously remember this situation.
Stop, man. He was a baby.
What do you remember about
11,
this game?
12.
Yeah. What do you remember?
I remember my dad and mom, and my dad obviously was a Knicks fan. He had the popcorn out. Our uncles were over. Our friends were over. It was like an event, right? And I think, like, for my family, for me, to my dad be like, yeah, we got to go outside and shoot after the game was over. I remember the next week, everyone had the 45 Bulls jersey. It was like pandemonium. It was just like life was given back to all basketball fans. And those memories of MJ doing all that stuff and coming back was, one of my fondest when it comes to watching the NBA.
No question. 27 years since that return game.
It's been that long. Wow.
It's been a long time. We actually do have visual evidence that Sam was present, although he didn't register the monster numbers in the scoring department.
Number 5.
Number 5 right there. And who's that? Is that Vern Fleming?
Vern Fleming.
Okay, that's Vern Fleming in front of MJ.
Former University of Georgia player.
Were you trying to double team in that moment? Can you recall what was going on?
I was probably coming over to foul. I led the league in fouls 2 years, so I probably was coming over to hack MJ up a little bit.